Hello guys, Casper here with a video of the stocks that you have been submitting in the previous or latest you know subscriber charts section. There were not that many that has been posting, so I just took everything basically. So we have 10 here, and we will go through them. I can see Helen Nilsson is always replying and asking, so that's pretty cool. Curious as well. And Patrick, I see you there also. So pretty cool that you keep, posting stocks whenever the post comes up. So that's really good. We will start off with a company, robotics here. Again, I have no idea what they do, so don't ask me the fundamentals because I really do not know here. And KITT, and it's you can see here flatlining again. I don't know exactly what happened there, and then all of a sudden started to trading, coming down here and roughly hitting 60, flatlining and then collapsing basically. And we have basically been going down, right? Basically gone down for a long time until recently here, where we started to again to break some very tight range stuff going on here, right? We have this very tight kind of pattern going on here for like half a year, and we broke here on heavy volume. I don't know exactly why that is, but on Christmas Eve, we actually started to break here, and we started to form this little channel here. We tagged it here, pulling back, breaking out. So the 2024 downtrend is, I will say, over. But again, the structure is so messy. It's very difficult to get a clear view. We do have a lot of resistance here where we are. You can also see we tagged $4. Basically, that is the resistance that we have from over here. So if you're long, cool, be long, I guess. But I wouldn't be saying, oh, we have broken out, I want to buy here. I would much rather say, okay, we have broken the downtrend. And if we get some sort of excuse, like a structure to get in, retesting, bull flagging, again, if we start to move higher and then we're going to come down here, right, and testing those, and you can actually add into the supply and demand zone, stop below, obviously, or you can buy the break there. So I will say I have a bullish bias, but I'm not seeing anything where hey, I want to buy this one right here, right now. But again, interesting, a lot of volume. By the way, be careful with this one here, because all of a sudden you're getting a tremendous amount of volume here. I mean, we are talking 10x, 20x compared to the previous into that breakout. So just sometimes it's really good to have that volume behind it, but also often it could be, a lot of people getting out, a lot of volume. So very curious to see where that takes us. Here we have ADE, Bitcoin Group. Again, look at this one here. 6 years in the making. Very textbook, by the way, stuff here. I will say anything above there, the two highs there, the double top, add roughly 71. You can easily add into this one here. Um, if we break here, you can add to the break, you can add to the potential retest. Stop should be somewhere below here. Again, if we start to come out and you're getting back in, that is dangerous. So I'll also say here that, again, you can have a little bit of a supportive uptrend here. That could also be your stop. So basically, as long as we are staying above, it's okay. Um, until it leaves, the big one here. Let's say we are going to come here. I wouldn't be using it as a stop, then I would use a different one here. But initially here, this little triangle, use that blue one there as your stop. When we break above, could also be an idea. But I really like it. This is actually a good looking setup here for ADE. And anything above like 72 here, as mentioned, you can start to go for longs. NTRA, Natira Incorporated here, medical. Um, we have an uptrend. It's not picture perfect, but again, it has a lot of merit to it. You can see the uptrend here, and you had this very bearish wedge right there, and you can see we started to break down from that wedge here and below the channel, snapped straight back in, right? False breakdown here, and then we just went on for a tear, right? Just tearing up here, and we cleared all-time highs somewhat quickly. So insanely strong uptrend here. Also short term, you have this one here, very precise. So if you're playing the short term, that could be a way to take some profit after a massive run from like 50 to 170. Um, Again, personally, if I was in this one here and bought whatever down here, again, I would have been taking probably everything off when you reach the all-time highs. That's just my plan. Very often to getting back to all-time highs, you're usually seeing a big pushback here, but in this case we didn't. But I'm still expecting a test here of the all-time high, and that's also why I like to sell into the all-time highs. It doesn't have to be all-time highs, but if you have a structure like this, again, the all-time high could be out here. So if you have the structure here, this is the main one that I'm looking at. I'm definitely going to sell into that. And again, very often you can buy back at more or less the exact price when you get the retest. Again, it's not 100%, but very often you get it. You can re-enter and you can have your stop there. Meanwhile, you're not wasting your time, you can say, in that whole spike up and then coming back down. So that is a very default exit that I have, unless I see other things, right? Unless I have other things that says, nope, not this time. So, but yeah, I mean, if you own it, I wouldn't be selling it by any means. I will start to get a little worried if we get a below 125. I could see us going all the way down to here if that is the case. So yeah, I don't know what caused this pop here. Definitely, false breakdown comes huge reactions in the other side, or to the other direction. In this case, a big reaction. So next, gold mining here. Keep in mind, we don't have a ton of data here. I mean, a ton of, it only goes back to basically July of 2024. So what can we take from this? Again, I would say we can connect the highs here for our downsloping ceiling. Then you have the lower here from our increasing lower bottom there. So you have this as your main. So I will say a break of the golden here and getting above these two highs here. So anything above, in this case, 0.80 is your entry. If you get an excuse to, let's say you start to bull flag here, you can go in early. If you buy the break, you have your stop below. You can get in earlier if you want to, but again, respect the stop there below the latest swing low in the bull flag. You having your stop, then you can get in, at roughly 0.75. But again, it's not much. I mean, you're only missing out on like 7-8%. So just play it safe here, and if you see a break above 80 cents here, you're going long. But again, you have to have your, in my opinion, I always use limit orders. So if I were to see this setup, I will say, okay, cool. I want to get in if we get above 80 cents here. So I'm putting it at let's say 81 here. And then my target, again, just for fun here, could be the all-time highs again, 100, 1.07. And then the stop will be something like that. Again, it's not picture perfect, but just to illustrate here. So we buy the break, and if it's a false breakout, again, we're out, right? Boom, goodbye, we're out. So you're getting 4 to 1 here, 4.3 actually to 1. So that is how I would frame it here if I were to give, like a very quick view on this here. Again, take it as you may, but again, use the limit order, meaning you have your order in place already before you break out. Meaning if you reach 81 cents, you're basically buying at 81 cents or a little bit higher, depending on how you're framing your entry. Often I see, when we break, sometimes you get a massive candle, right? You get this big, beautiful green candle, but then what do? All of a sudden, you are all the way up here at 0.86, meaning your entry is here, and your stop loss has to be all the way down here still, because it's still very, I mean, if we're going to come down to the retest, it's still totally fine. So therefore, you can't, in my opinion, it's the risk reward gets skewed here if you wait for a breakout and all of a sudden you have run this far. Then I would much rather wait for a retest. That's why have your stop in, your buy in here. So your risk reward is, as mentioned here, roughly, where was it there? 82 there, yeah, 4.3 here instead of below 2. Big difference, by the way, massive difference. So again, limit orders is your friend more or less always. That was a little bit of a sidestep there, but here we have DSV, Discovery Metals, and only 10 years old roughly. Note here again, in 2021 here, we had this bullish setup here, but it failed. And then we retested, and then ever since, we are in a massive decline here, getting all the way back to 50 cents. So yeah, I will be waiting again to break the blue here. Just wait to break the blue channel. So that will happen roughly at somewhere, a tad above $1 here, or one Canadian dollar, 1.05-ish, 1.10 maybe. You are getting your entry there, and then you will, or could be playing this whole uptrend here. The top side is not picture perfect, but you have your internal here. Then you have your extreme, massive high up here to play from. So yeah, great one here again. These long channels, once they break, you're usually totally aligned with the moving averages here on the daily. You can see that again. The moving averages are the what I call the momentum band. If we start to break here, right? If we start to break, that's actually a little bull flag. So you can get in a little bit early here, roughly 92 cents here. But if you start to run here, all these momentum bands is going to pop up like crazy. So it's a good one here. I haven't been looking at this for like a year, I will say, maybe half a year. So really glad to see this one here. I've definitely adding it to my alert here, and I am missing the most important thing, which is the warning or the alert trigger. So whenever it breaks, I'm getting triggered there. So really cool. That's a great one. Draft Kings has also done really great ever since we left 21 here. It's an old drawing, by the way. When I wrote this in, again, I just saw a very old drawing. I haven't been looking at it for quite some time. But again, all-time highs here. We have 1, 2, 3. If we break and getting above, let's call it the 47, you can go long. And anything below that lower trend line is your exit, more or less. And I would be targeting these up here. You can be targeting 64 or all-time high at 74. So these is the ones that I would be playing. If the momentum is really strong, you could see a visit to the upper channel here, but I'm expecting some sort of pause before we get into there. Therefore, selling into all-time highs, that massive head and shoulders over there makes a lot of sense to me. By the way, if we break down from here, that is scary, very scary, in my opinion. Sound Hound, also an old drawing, and I wish I had the alert on. I didn't. You can see here a very old drawing, and yeah, missed the boat on this one here. Again, in hindsight, everything is easy, right? But we basically broke here. Initial impulse there in early 2024. Wedge pattern breaking higher. Again, I would have been sold there at all-time highs. We are sitting now a tad higher. We can measure the pole here, the initial impulse into the next one here, and we are looking at roughly almost there, right? It is $30. That is the target. But just basically we are going, I wouldn't say vertical, but again, look at the move here. Very, very strong, strong move. Negative divergence here. I'm positive on the daily. So yeah, what a move. What a move for Sound Hound. Entry wise, no. I will never touch a stock after such a move here. Again, I would be in over here or here. In this case, I wasn't, but again, that's how I would have been playing these. But I really like this one here also, that you had this big support and resistance level at roughly 5, and you had that initial spike, and then you started to coil around that, meaning a breakdown would have been really bad. A break above, again, confirming the triangle, and that level is now massive support. And boom, we had a very big impulse. Also helped, of course, with the Trump victory right there. So HAFN, Hafnia Limited. We don't have much to go by, so I tried to draw something in here, but it is just extremely messy in my book here. We had a channel here that we broke down from, right? We had it and break down. We haven't really been testing the lower trend line of that golden channel yet. So, but in order for me to get bullish again, I'm not in love with this one by any means. But we basically need to take out this lower golden and that blue there. Until then, I mean, I'm not, in total love here. So we need to get above roughly $6 basically to become somewhat interested in this one here. But personally, there are better options. DSNORD is a Danish stock that we were following in the shipping sector. Just before we go into this one over here, this is again, if you get these, it doesn't matter what time frame, but this is basically a 10-year macro impulse, right? Boom, boom, you have the big, and then you have the massive puke here, obviously, together with, CV19. And then we have this textbook macro falling wedge, and you can basically buy into the breakout there and have a very, very, very often you have a tremendous impulse where you often get to the triangle high. So we haven't been getting there, but let's dive in to see here. Initially, again, they pay quite a good dividend here, if I remember correctly. Yes, 7%. Initially, I had this little triangle on here. That was my main focus, that one there. The upper yellow and the lower blue here. That was my, okay, this is, if it breaks, that's when I'm getting in. We broke down, testing that pivot there. And later on, I copied this one here and basically took it to there. So it's still a massive bull flag. Ideally, we would have been broken before, basically holding the blue here. But we came down here, tagged it, seeing an impulse. So I would just be waiting still for that yellow one to break. So again, I want to see it break out over here at roughly 260 before I'm like, okay, this is actually quite good. But don't get me wrong here, the price action after that mega breakout, bull flag, cool. Next impulse, bull flag, okay, cool. So you do have, in my opinion, at least the first kind of impulse here, and you're probably going to go to the all-time highs there. Yeah, maybe you have an overreaction, but still looks good here. But I'm just watching it here. I have done the watch list under the shipping sector, and I can see my alert has been expired. So that is it. Again, I think if you are going to come down again, you can be buying here at roughly 200. But if we start to come too much below 200, I would say, nah, this is not ready just yet here, and we are probably going lower. So yeah, that's all, guys. Thank you for participating. I will make a new post, and we will look at it whenever we have enough. In this case, we only had 10. Normally, I have like 30 or 40. So please comment your stock, so we can do this once a week, more or less. So that's the name of the game, guys. Have an amazing day. Cheers, guys. Bye.